Well, I'm so excited to have Melanee Radner with me because Melanee is a co-owner of the Franklin Cider Mill. And I have to say, I didn't grow up here, but I've lived here long enough to say that I've had a first date at the Franklin Cider Mill. Everybody in my family, it's a must when they come home from college, when Thanksgiving rolls around, and they're coming into town, everybody's like, did you stop at the cider mill? Have you gone to the cider mill yet? And I'm like, you're not even in town yet. And that must be such an amazing feeling to know that your family is really a part of everybody's family, like the history, and that people meet there for camp reunions and kids coming home from college. Like that is where they have to meet. I mean, there's
It,
other places, but it's the Franklin Cider Mill.
no,
Like
it
that.
is. It's wonderful. I feel like, growing up, I feel everyone always said, oh my God, your family owns a cider mill. It's the greatest thing. And when can I have a tour? And we're coming there. And it's been around for so long. And I agree with you. It's been in everybody's families for so long. And I feel like people look forward to going and look forward to the fall, and they can't wait. I mean, people are saying, why can't you open all year round? And they don't understand it. But yeah, it's a great place to meet people, see people. You always walk, whenever you go, you always see one person that and like it's
Oh,
like
for
old
sure.
school person, so you like catch up. It's a wonderful thing. It's my grandfather has turned this into a wonderful family affair slash reunion, everything that you said. Yeah, it's awesome.
So tell me, during the off season, what is life at the cider mill like? I drove by the other day and I was thinking about that you and I got to talk, we were going to talk this week. And I looked over as I drove, down Franklin Road, and, you kind of want to go, what's going on, in the off season?
So off season, there's not really much going on at the actual Franklin Cider Mill, but there is a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. People are like, oh, it's so wonderful. It's a 90-day business. Nobody knows it's not a 90-day business. Nothing happens in 90 days. That's when the magic happens. But for the most part, it's really like an all year round business, meaning, once we close after Thanksgiving, we have to clean up everything. We make sure that we leave that place spick and span. So when we come back to the cider mill, when we go back to, pre-open, pre-season, we're able to go in there and start fresh again, but everything's clean. It's not old, it's not dirty. And then, there's a lot of paperwork that goes into running the cider mill too. You're an old historical site, so there's a lot of upkeep. It's the original building. So all we can really do is keep putting, fixing it and making it look pretty and beautifying what we currently have, instead of obviously knocking it down and rebuilding it, which we would never do.
Right.
Like this year, we had we had to build a wall on the outside of the parking lot, like little things that no one would probably ever notice, but we notice it. We walk around, I'm really the only local, owner right now in Michigan. So, and my father is actually as well too. So my father, I will walk around there, we'll check it out. We'll see what we need to do to beautify it. And then once we actually get our feet in there, which is usually starts the last week in July, we really do a checklist to see what's important, whether are we painting it? We always paint. We always do, new asphalt. We just make it look and safe also. Forget making it look pretty. It's got to be safe. The bridges that you drive over have to be safe. We need to keep it going. It's a lot more work that involves running a Franklin Cider Mill versus just the 90 days that we're open, serving people and smiling, so
right.
It's interesting. I never really realized it until I got more involved. And then I was like, wow, now I understand like why my grandfather was always busy or my dad was always busy growing up. So it's interesting and it's fun. I love it. It's really a wonderful experience and I love making everybody happy, but it makes me happy. It really is. It's phenomenal.
So during the off season, you are in contact, your apples come from somewhere. Explain sort of the process behind, because I want to talk about the magic, but I think it's really important for people to understand, like, you're standing in line waiting for your apples, for me, I'm waiting for my caramel apple.
Right.
Because it's a little known fact that my husband and I have this game that if you had one food in the world, he would have ice cream, I would have caramel apples.
Love
So
it.
like that is my go-to. But you know, you're not growing. It's not a orchard right there.
No, it's not an orchard.
And so you have partnerships and on site. So tell everyone, you know, sort of off season, you have to have, you know, these conversations and
Correct.
how all that works.
So off season, we always stay in touch with all of our vendors that we get, you know, everything from, whether it's, you know, our tent stuff that we normally carry, the jams, the salsas, the cheese. And we always contact our apple grower to say, hey, how did the apples grow this year? Is it a late season? Is it an early season? Ironically, this season, it's a late season. So the apples.
So is that because of weather?
Like, yes.
Okay.
Weather, definitely late season. We will always have our starting apples, obviously, before the cider mill opens. They just may be like a week later, not so long, but a week later, which means that every specific type of apple is going to be a little bit late, not just our opening apples. And we mix all of our apples together. We just don't use one type of apple, other than when we offer the Honeycrisp cider, which is pure Honeycrisp apples only, which usually doesn't start till the end of September, and hoping that we will be able to get them at that, you know, on time as well. We contact them, we check out how everything's going. Are we looking on time? Where are we at? We contact all the other vendors. With COVID, unfortunately, it stopped a lot of production, not in anything that is that important of the cider mill. You know, our cider and donuts is really what we're known for. We will be perfectly fine, as well as our other products that we carry. But it definitely stopped production a little bit. For us, luckily, being a fall business, it didn't affect us as much as it would affect somebody who wants to open up in the months of like July or even beginning of August. We will be just fine and okay. But it's interesting because you do see that how this COVID has really affected everybody, not just, you know, us and our families, but, you know, businesses and productions of things, you know,
Right.
making things. We're trying to get things to even make what they want to make, you know. So it's
well, just because you're later down the line, but
yeah.
you know, in March where you're growing, or jams are being, you know, processed, or you know, from the bags. You know, I think I shared with you once that my dad used to make those roadside apple bags. You know, I mean, all of that production starts somewhere to get to your end result of people standing in line on a busy weekend.
Exactly. Like we've already ordered like our caramel. We've already, you know, we ordered all the products. So when we actually, like I said, we start at the end of July, beginning of August, we go through our checklist and we just get everything set up. We have a phenomenal team. It's not a one person. It's not an I. It's not even just, you know, the people you see. It's the behind the scenes people that really get that place going and make it the magic happen. And, you know, we're a big family there. So we really make everybody feel like we're one. You know, it's wonderful. It really
How
is.
long has the cider mill been around?
So it started off in 1837 as a grist mill. And then eventually they turned it in, it was sold to somebody else by the name of Peter Van Every. And then he completed the building, and that's when he turned it into a cider mill. The ownership changed several times throughout that. My grandfather purchased the cider mill in 1966. And that's when he actually just had purchased a house in Franklin. And when he bought the house in Franklin, his realtor said, there's a business for sale if you're interested. And my grandfather looked at it and said, yeah, this looks like a kind of a cool business. He ran another business as well. And he took it over. And from there, he turned it into what we see now. It was much different, I think, way back then. And like you said, like all the other like cider mills, they all have their own orchards. Like I get phone calls, you know, do you guys have an orchard to pick at? Do you guys have this to do, a pumpkin patch? And we don't, we differ, you know, from that. So I'm okay with that. I think that we're just I call it more, it's not really a boutique cider mill, but you know, you have apples, you are able to pick your different kinds of apples and put them in bushels. It will look different this year, but at the same time, you're still able to do that. So when people say, do you have an orchard for us to go through? I say, no, but we have bushels and bushels of apples. You can choose your own apples. You can pick them all. You put them in your bag. You know, you just got to make people understand that you don't always have to go into like a hayride and go to the apple orchard. And apples, right.
Well, and I think like it's such a great, like I said, it's such a great in-town experience. And like, in the old world of Franklin,
Right, right.
I mean, and I know it was, all of us, our kids growing up, and now our kids go on our own. Um, but what is the Franklin Cider Mill going to look like? Because everybody will want to know this. And I never say post-COVID because we don't know what post-COVID is
Correct.
yet. But people are going to want to go there, and they're going to want to experience the cider mill with that safety and social distancing. And I know that your family will be on the forefront of that because you'll want to provide that safety experience. So what are you doing now to think about that?
So since COVID came out in March, it was the first thing. We had a Zoom call with my brother and my aunt, and we said, what are we going to do with this? I have so many questions. Are you going to open? Are you going to open? It never crossed our minds not to open. Opening is a for sure thing. You just have to open, with a worst case scenario and then a best case scenario. With that being said, we have planned for COVID with the CDC guidelines, restaurant guidelines, with the government, we've read everything page after page after page, and we have to follow like what the restaurant guidelines basically follow. So with that being said, there are phenomenal changes that are coming to the cider mill this year that I think will make everybody feel safe, happy, and I feel like we'll see what happens this year if we're going to incorporate them into our future. One thing being said, we obviously we're going to partner up with Grubhub and DoorDash and do delivery services. Yes, the prices are going to be a little bit higher, but who knows how much higher that it's going to be until we actually get into it. We are going to be doing curbside.
Oh, wow.
And we'll probably just do curbside Monday through Friday because we do expect bigger crowds on the weekends.
Okay.
We are going to be doing online ordering, which is really what our biggest change is. And with online ordering is where you'll do your curbside, or you can do like a Starbucks, like a mobile order. And we'll have a designated area where whoever orders online will go pick up their online ordering. They pay for it right then and there. They come up, they say their order number, and it's ready to go. So I think that's going to be for people who just want to come in and out. With people who want to experience the cider mill, as I'm hoping families still do. And I'm like, as I'm out and about, I look at outdoor businesses and I see people are still going around and with their families and just kind of social distancing from everybody else. Right. Whether it's sitting on a bench, sitting on a curb. So I'm really hopeful that that's what's going to happen with us at the cider mill. Having it been around for so long and people looking for activities to do, especially on the weekends when their kids are all cooped up and going to school. Hopefully we'll see what happens. So we will have everything spaced apart with the signs on the ground like you see everywhere, 6 feet apart. Well, plenty of signage explaining to everybody. We'll have touchless hand sanitizer stations throughout the whole entire cider mill outside. And, once you enter into the cider mill off the, parking lot, we will have every single employee will be wearing a mask and gloves. We will obviously not serve anybody unless they have a mask. We will be giving masks if people do not have them. Trying to be as friendly as we can to everybody to make everyone feel comfortable because there are immune compromised people that want to come there that want to feel safe as well. We have a lot of elderly people that come from their group homes and we don't want them to feel, unsafe. So we got to make everybody feel safe. As of now, we're planning on keeping our indoor area only open during the week, Monday through Friday, limited to 3 customers. So you will not be able to watch like the cider being pressed as normal because it's not worth, spreading anything. So it's pretty much during the week, come on in, get your stuff, go out. And people are like, well, how are you going to monitor that? I'm like, we are going to hire an employee to monitor it. So, our hiring is still happening. I've had everybody contact me from last year, so excited to come back. I thought maybe I'd lose a few people and they're all like so excited to come back. No one is really afraid. They're all know that we're going to take the safety precautions that we need to take. We are putting plexiglass up at all the registers so everybody feels safe. So there's no face-to-face contact other than, even though they'll have a mask or a shield. We will make it so every single person that walks in there will walk out and say, wow, what a wonderful experience. From walking in and feeling safe by staying socially distanced, from, touchless hand sanitizing stations, from going up to the counter and being greeted by one of the sales team and selling it, everyone is going to feel very safe. And I'm confident that everybody's going to want to come on back because they're going to see what an incredible experience it is. So I'm very optimistic as well, but I'm hopeful that that's what our season's going to look like.
Well, I think that you've really laid out a great plan and have this time ahead of time, being that you're not open till Labor Day. You're getting a little prelude to what some of these other restaurants are dealing with. You're able to plan in what's been, not a great scenario for some of these restaurants, but you're getting the benefit of seeing how some of it's working, how some of it's not working.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is we're going into these the highs and lows of this pandemic. But I love that you're really taking this to heart, in that we are going to open. This is a place that we all want to be. There's we all laugh and say we want to get our hair cut and our nails done. We want to be at the cider mill too.
Correct. And I'm hoping that, that's why I'm saying I'm so hopeful. I want everybody to feel like, oh my God, we're going to the cider mill and we're taking everything the CDC has given us. And, it's a learning experience for, I feel, any business opening up in today's world right now. And you're 100% right. I do walk around to restaurants and places and ice cream and see what they're doing and what I like and what I would do differently, or what I think is phenomenal. I've taken pictures of things and said, this is wonderful. I own a business and I want to see, what you're doing, but I want everyone just to feel safe. I don't want anyone walking away saying, oh, I went to the Franklin Cider Mill, and had a negative experience. I truly believe everyone is going to have such a positive experience that they're going to keep coming back. And that's going to be their safe place to come with their families and sit around and feed the ducks and feel safe.
I was just going to say, you got to feed the ducks and be with your family. And you can, we're all learning to social distance with our family. I mean, if you could keep the bees out. I
know, right? What can we do? Maybe the bees won't want to be there this year, right?
I don't know. If we could just get rid of the bees, I'm like, then you definitely have me all day.
I'll do my best for you. I'll make sure I put extra bee spray.
What? The bees are part of the Franklin Cider Mill. They're family too.
I hear you on that one.
I grew up in a family business, and I get to talk to so many people in our community who work with their family. And, I always say there's the good and the bad, and, and I love it. But what do you like best, coming from a family business and getting, you're really getting into working with your family?
I think that you don't realize it until you're actually step foot in it and jump in. So I basically jumped into it and realized how incredible my family really is. My grandfather, he was incredible. My dad, my aunt, I feel like everybody together just comes together, and we're really passionate about what we do. So I think coming to a family business either breaks a family or makes them stronger. And I think it's made our family a lot stronger, and just keeping up the tradition and my grandfather's dream. And I just feel like it's time to come, into like the new world a little bit. And I feel like we're trying to, we're taking credit cards. So we take, Master, Visa, American Express, everything. We're going to be doing contactless this year, so people can just, tap their watch, tap their credit card. So I think by changing to credit cards, obviously we're still accepting cash, but I believe that is a huge thing towards the future and makes people more comfortable as well. But I feel a family, they come together because this is what their passion is. And I feel like it's everyone's passion inside. And then once they actually stepped foot, like my aunt from Columbus, this has been her dad's business forever. She stopped by. She's always worked there a little bit, but last year she jumped in with me, and she was like, and she's got a full-time job, and she took off, to be with me for the 90 days. And she was like, I love this business. I understand why my dad loved it so much and why he was so happy when he was here. And it's a happy place. And I looked at her, and it brought her and I haven't lived in the same state with her since I was 2. So it's brought her and I close, and we've developed an incredible relationship. And, my brother lives in Chicago, and, he's as involved as he can be. He's really the behind the scene guy. He's a lot of the brains behind this, organization as well. And then my father, who has turned this business changed it from when my grandfather passed away 16 years ago. He's transformed into another incredible business as well. So I got to give it to him too. So I feel like we all work together and we all support one another. And we don't always agree on things, obviously, what family does, but we listen, we respect it, and we can agree to disagree. But we definitely, we all respect one each other's opinions, experiences, and we put it together and make this into an incredible, organization. And that's why I'm proud to say that I'm, part of it.
I think it's always, fun in a family business because you're not always going to agree.
No, right, exactly.
And you're going to love hard and fight hard.
Exactly.
And, who else can you fight hard with, but you're the ones you love the most.
Yeah.
But I think the most successful businesses happen to be family businesses because, you care so much, you love so much. I think, what would your grandfather say about what's happening now? Like, what would be maybe even surprise him about what's happening in the business?
I think he'd be shocked that my aunt and I stepped in and are running this business right now. I think more so me than my aunt. My aunt has always had a phenomenal business sense and has always run her own business. And so I don't think he'd be shocked in her ability to take it over and do what she needs to do. I think with me, I was always the little girl, the little spoiled, this girl. I don't think he ever expected me to have that type of work ethic. So I think that would really surprise him. My brother, no surprise at all. I think I'd be the biggest surprise. I think he'd be very proud to see that we, jumped in and kept it, as much as we can the same that's pretty much what I feel he would want, is to keep it the same. And that's what we've done. We keep it the same, except make it better. We just want every year to get it better. People have to say, oh my God, you offer this now. That's incredible. We love it. We listen to people's suggestions, but for the most part, we try to keep it a tradition. It's a traditional thing. I mean, what we brought in over the years due to dietary things with gluten-free and vegan, because there is so many gluten-free people out there now and vegan people, we've had to bring in some baked goods, to outside bakeries to partner with us, to do that with us, because we do have so many customers that do have that allergy. So I feel like he'd be like, I can't believe you're doing that. Like, what do you mean? You're bringing in other, so that would probably freak him out. And I think that bringing in the credit cards is probably what would be like, why would you do that? But you know what? It's the
I think that freaked my kids out actually, because they used to go to the cider mill and I'd be like, do you have cash? Do you have, because these kids, let alone, I shouldn't say, I never have any cash on me, but, and I'd be like, okay, I can't start by the cider mill. I was so excited when you guys got an ATM machine.
People were so excited. Right. Exactly.
That was like, they have an ATM machine now. I'm good.
And you know what? And I feel like there's people who still say, oh, I prefer cash. And we're like, listen, we're not going to not take cash, but it's a new world. And I feel like most people, I agree with you, Sari, don't always have, like my grandfather and father have always taught me to make sure I have cash on me at all times. Of
course.
And I try to teach that to my children. But, unless you're taught that way, it's not going to happen. So I feel like, I think that he'd freak out that we're doing that now.
I grew up like you, like my grandfather and my father always said, have cash. And,
always.
Like I was telling you, like my daughter left today to go back. I'm like, you have cash on you. And she's like looking at me and laughing. And I'm like, you have toll roads. She's like laughing at me going, Mom, I'm like,
but we need to make sure. I agree.
I'm like, just have cash on you. Your grandfather would make your grandfather happy. Forget me.
That's exactly it. I think that, and it's crazy. A lot of our employees, which I think my grandfather would love, him looking down, have been there since he was there. So, we had kids start when they were 16 who are in their 30s now, who keep, saying, well, your grandfather, which it's just a cool thing. And I think he'd love that we still have them, running the show with us and getting to learn all the different generations in his family, versus my dad, now to me. And I think that that's super cool. And I think he would love that we all get along and have the respect for one another as well.
I love that. Are there any new products coming this fall that you can tell us about?
We really don't know any new products. We will, I'm sure, have some.
Yeah.
We have to kind of investigate and to decide what it's going to look like, how much we want to bring in new, why is that why, But I feel like we'll always have our cider and donuts. and our slushies and our hot cider and our jams and our honey and Hickory Farms and our wonderful products that we do sell. And I'm planning on still partnering up with Dakota. You know, we carry like the Dakota breads, and people love the Dakota breads and the tin breads, and pies, fresh pies you can order. So we're going to keep what we think we know will go. And we'll see. I feel like it's going to be a learning game for all of us. I really do. But like, again, I'm like misconfident thinking it's going to be great and everyone's going to want to be there because it isn't outside. Luckily we're, 90% outside of a business, so we can make it happen,
I agree with you. I think your optimism is on target. I do. I think that people are like they're going out to restaurants, like they're doing backyard get-togethers. I think that you're putting in place a way for people to experience the cider mill. If they want to come and go, they have that option. I mean, I love the fact that you're thinking ahead, sort of that online ordering for someone who I've got to have it, but I need to park and get it and go.
Correct.
But, the truth of the matter is they can come and do that, but then they can go down by the water with their family. So maybe they don't need to experience their whole family waiting in line, so, maybe just a parent can go get everybody their items and their family can be away. So not everybody has to be in line. There's so many ways you've already thought way ahead to give everybody that experience on a weekend, as in particular, where so many people go. But also, during the week is a wonderful time to break it up. If you want, there's always less crowds anyway. Although I gotta say, I've driven by at a 3 o'clock after school. It's just as crowded.
Well, right. And if that's the case, we'll kind of reevaluate where we'll maybe shut the indoor on that day and just open the lower sales area, which is right by the donut room, and just keep that open and keep it going from there.
Yeah.
Within our, staff also standing, 6 feet apart and socially distanced. So it's not going to be as many, people on a register, but boom, 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 it will go much quicker. But yeah, I agree with you. We're going to kind of have to just wait to see how it's going to work, but we're ready to go. We're like pumped. We have everything ordered. I can't wait to get in there and start and call everybody, all the vendors and get things,
I can't wait for my Honey Crisp.
Right.
Like, that's, I've gone through over the years, I've gone through, and like everybody, you go from your Red Delicious to your Macintosh to, I'm like, Honey Crisp are my new.
People love Honey Crisp, but that's probably like one of our best selling products. My father actually came up with that to sell just the pure Honey Crisp one year, and it just from there
fabulous.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Well, I've had such a great time talking to you.
Me too. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
I know you have a fan club out there who's following today because they just want to know what you're going to do when you open. So we'll remind everyone that you should always follow the Franklin Cider Mill on Facebook
and
Instagram, because you'll definitely post there. You'll tell everybody all the updates, hours, any changes along the way. That's the best place to follow along. Everybody's favorite place to go have cider and donuts and all the other good baked goods, cheeses, jams.
And I'm excited, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this for us. And we just can't wait. And Saturday, September 5th, opening day, 8 a.m. We are ready to go, and come get your glass.
It'll be a gorgeous hot day like today.
We'll do some kind of like fun thing. So look at Instagram. It's, the Franklin Cider Mill, and check us out and you'll see what we have going on. And we're looking forward to it. We're really excited.
Cannot wait. What year is this going to be? Do you know how many years this? Well,
it started in 1837. My grandfather is 66. So I think it's like 56 years, 57 years. Yeah.
Wow.
It's been in my family for 57 years. So, generation to generation to keep it going, and, hoping and in everyone's house one day.
Amazing.
I love it. Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody, September 5th.
Saturday before Labor Day.
Countdown begins to a wonderful season at the Franklin Cider Mill. Thanks, Melanee, for joining us.
Thank you, Sari, so much. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.